What's something you secretly judge people about? What part of their life are they posting on social media? My husband has a friend who has a psycho girlfriend that posts really personal crap online. Like, she sent her boyfriend some racy photos and he didn't react like he should have, so she shared them online with a comment about how she thought the photos were sexy and he must not find her attractive anymore. I was embarrassed for her. She also likes to make up stories about him hitting her, then update a few hours later that she's sorry and she lied and he didn't hit her. And these people are in their 30s with children and still acting like that. He needs to get out of that situation pronto. People who use speakerphone for music or conversations in public places. I hate it. This dude I worked with would always watch shows on full volume in the break room. It was annoying. We had told him before it was annoying, but he would just assume we were kidding around for some reason. Finally one day my boss walked over, picked up his phone, and turned it off. It was great. He just didn't give a frick. People that gossip to me about other people. I always wonder what they say about me behind my back. One of my favorite office tricks is to gossip relentlessly, but to keep it at least 90% positive. People can and do find out that I've been going around behind their backs and spreading rumors about how great they are. Obviously it creates a nice work environment, but by being willing to gossip, people are more willing to tell me things that aren't necessarily public yet. I think this makes you chaotic neutral. How their kids behave and their parenting choices. For real. Even worse when the parents think it's funny or cute. Was watching a little girl throw a huge fit at a store the other day and mom and grandma are both giggling about how sassy she was. Ugh, I'm a wedding photographer. Nuff said. How they treat servers, waitstaff or hotel clerks. Nothing irritates me more than grown-ass adults who think service professionals are somehow beneath them, or that they're somehow indentured servants. I openly judge this. Like I'll say something if someone I'm with is rude to a service professional. I called out my mom once. I was like, "Mom, stop. This is why there is an OK Boomer meme." She cried and later brought the receptionist's flowers. She was always borderline when I was growing up, but she has really changed for the better. How they treat janitor/custodial staff, and whether people leave more of a mess than they should because it's their job to clean up after me. When I was a Boy Scout they taught us to leave every campsite cleaner than before we arrived. We would do a sweep of the entire site when we left and pick up any garbage or whatever that didn't belong. I've adapted this to all situations in my life. Why not? Always make a place equal or better than when you arrived. There is no downside. Hotels, campsites, tables at the restaurant, whatever. Leave no trace. No, don't just leave no trace. Leave it better than you find it. Yes, that means picking up trash even if it's yours. No, Bobby, your friend isn't trash. Put him down this instant. How open they are to differing opinions. There are certain people who immediately jump to the defensive or shut down the whole discussion when they disagree with something, instead of having an actual conversation on it. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Aristotle. Reddit has to be the biggest collection of uneducated minds in human history. Not putting their shopping cart in the return. My first job was to collect carts and bag groceries. If I can put my cart away with two small children in tow, so can you. In Europe you have to put €1 or £1 in the trolley to be able to take it. If you don't put it back you don't get your money back. Aldi is the only store I've been to in the US that does that, and it's only a quarter. You wouldn't believe how many people complain about putting that quarter in the cart, even when every car has a handful of change in the ashtray from McDonald's. Other people still leave them out in the parking lot anyway, because 0.25 isn't enough to walk 100 foot for. You don't know how to write an aerobic? No worries mate, it's a rare word, and who needs to use it anyway? But if you're unable to use their/their/their properly, which you have literally seen being used correctly 1,000 times, then I can't guarantee I will ever consider you a bright person. This only applies to native English speakers, obviously. Should have instead of have annoys me just as well. In the South, a lot of people say whenever instead of when. It drives me a little batty. So I grew up in Texas, but whenever I moved here I went back to school. Or, whenever I was a kid, I was a total class clown. I don't get why people say it. It's more syllables for less clarity. How snobbish another person reacts to someone else's situation. I.e. when someone finds out information about another person's wage, job, family situation, living situation, etc etc, and making a comment on it. God, I hate people like that. They should try working on their feet for 10 hours in a hot greasy kitchen before criticizing someone for flipping burgers. What they say about their kids in social media. I get that being a parent is hard, and it's okay to talk /vent /be real about that online, but sometimes people cross the line and talk about their kids as if they are not real people just because they are not grown and don't have a Facebook account. People should imagine what their kids would think if they were all grown up and reading your internet history. If you think they would be hurt by what you said, don't post it. To build on this, also people who post about others without their consent to share big news, that is announcing an engagement, pregnancy, or even a death. I knew someone who found out a grandparent had passed away suddenly from their cousin. The aunt happened to get called first, and after telling the cousin, they immediately posted on Facebook. At least let most of the next of kin folks find out before they read your misspelled Facebook post with 16 sad face images and a eulogy you wrote just for attention. Craving for attention. As an introvert, people who do that are very easy to notice and very annoying. It just seems too weird to me too when someone goes out of the way for attention to the point that it's disruptive to what else is going on in a room/space. I'm always thinking there are more people in this world than you. Parents who try to convince me to let their kid in a ride when they're not big enough, even when I tell them it's for their own safety and the restraints aren't designed for smaller people. It's like they don't care if their kid gets majorly hurt. Also parents who force their kids on rides they don't want to get on, traumatizing them and making them fear rides in general, but also not realizing that kids often try to climb out if rides they are scared of, which is very dangerous. A judgmental carny or a hero in disguise. A very patient theme park ride opus. Who loves their job. Not washing hands after using the toilet. There's a nasty bastard at my workplace who we call Pussy Fingers because he refuses to wash his hands after a slash. A male colleague recently said he had a crap and didn't wash his hands afterwards. What the frick? This is how things like norovirus and other crap-borne pathogens spread. But honestly, why do people not wash their freaking hands after freaking pooping? I'm convinced they are children of Satan. This is kind of meta, but I spend a lot of time judging how judgmental someone likely is and if they seem like a safe person or not. I've noticed that the thing that triggers my social anxiety is how judgmental other people are. As a result, I cannot stand talking to judgmental people. Yay, same. I was reminded why I'm like this when I visited my dad last weekend. Lol. That guy is one of the most close-minded, judgmental people I've ever met. When they talk badly about people they were acting nice towards, I'm a little on the fence about this one. There are acquaintances of mine, not friends OFC, whom I definitely think it would be right to warn newer friends about. Maybe don't lend this person money or don't move in with this person because my other friend had a nightmare living with them. But am I going to go full scorched earth and be unpleasant to them to their face? Probably not, tbh. They'll still be in my orbit and it'll be uncomfortable for everyone forever. Is that really so bad? How often they complain. Complaints are sometimes a useful icebreaker like lowest common denominator, but I realized this when I was teaching driver edition. If I had a student who was clammed up and I was having trouble getting through to, I worked out two subjects that almost always worked: talking about food and complaining about something, usually school or the small town we lived in. I think most people mainly complain to start a conversation rather than for the sake of actually complaining. If I go to use the bathroom in their house and it's crusty, dusty, and covered in hair and God knows what else, I straight up don't allow people into my place unless I know for a fact that the critical areas are clean. Yep, and if somebody shows up uninvited, I say something like, dude, I was just about to go to the bathroom, I'll be back in a minute, and quickly wipe over the toilet and basin with disinfectant wipes. Volume of their voice. I have the sort of voice that people seem to like to dismiss or talk over, so I've learned that the only way to be heard is to simply be louder than anyone else who might feel that it's okay to interrupt me. If I'm in a group setting and speak at my normal volume, people will constantly talk over me or interrupt me. Ever since I figured out that being loud means that people won't talk over me, I've made a conscious effort to speak loudly. I don't care if it makes me seem rude, so long as I'm able to actually be part of a conversation. How some parents let their kids crawl around on the floor of a restaurant. The floor is disgusting, and this is also extremely dangerous. Also, parents who let their 2-year-old have 3 big cups of Coke or sweet tea. That is an enormous amount of sugar and caffeine for a teeny child. My husband's best friend and his wife feed their 5-year-old nothing but crap and then post it all over Instagram, and we are past the point of trying not to judge them. My husband's mother is best friends with the friend's mother, and we found out that the pediatrician has had a chat with them at least once a couple of years ago about what they feed him, because the kid was eating so much sodium, it was starting to cause health problems. I do try not to judge people on their parenting, because you never know for sure what's going on in someone else's life, and I know I'm lucky that my kids aren't picky eaters, but I feel like what you do to set up your child's relationship with food in their early years can have such a big impact on the rest of their life. Don't get me wrong, my kids were definitely shoving cookies into their mouths at the speed of light at a birthday party yesterday, but they were also fighting over who got to finish the roasted cauliflower at dinner earlier in the week, so it balances out, I guess / hope. People who can't get another person's name right in an email conversation. It's literally right there in my signature. There's no excuse for calling me by the wrong name. Also, people who use a shortened version of my name or other nickname without asking if that's okay. I really don't like the shortened version of my name, and the version that I prefer is 1 extra syllable. It takes no extra effort to call by my preferred name. It's so presumptuous and bloody rude. It's really not hard to just use someone's name as they tell it to you. I was recently contacting print companies for quotes, and someone took it upon themselves to call me by a nickname that I hate after seeing my name in my email signature. It made me irrationality mad. NGL. Cheating. Apparently this is an unpopular opinion in the world now, but I have a severe fear / anxiety of being cheated on, and I think it's horrible. So whenever I hear one of my friends talk, almost brag about cheating on their partner, I automatically lose a lot of respect for them. Which people brag about cheating on someone just shows what a piece of crap they are, bragging about it. If they are constantly flaunting on social media, especially relationships. I had to mute a guy because just about every day he's posting about his fiancée. I've also noticed people do this when they want to pretend the relationship is going super well. I hit a rocky point in my relationship about 1.5 years in. We were having a really hard time communicating. I felt like I had to post online about how great my partner was because I was trying to convince myself to. Taking video / FaceTime calls walking around the grocery store. Generally any public speakerphone / broadcast of their private crap like conversations and music. What the frick have we come to with the combo of disregard for others and the narcissism? I saw someone in a grocery store with a full speaker set up in their cart, blasting their own music over the grocery store's music. Buy some headphones, guy. I'm a jerk. I follow those people around, singing along with the music as bad as I can. Ruin it for them, like they are ruining it for us. The behavior of their dog. There are of course allowances for dogs that were adopted / rescued that weren't trained for a period of their lives, and some dogs have reactive behavior that's difficult to overcome even with diligent work. However, if the only reason your dog is a little crappies because you don't care enough to train them right, I'm sitting here in judgment. This reminds me, people who don't keep a leash on their dog and their dog has crazy behavior. It's illegal where I live to walk a dog without a leash, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not going to call the police on a dog that hasn't attacked anyone. I do not like when random dogs without a leash approach me though. But then the dog owner tells you the dog's okay, so it's automatically fine cause they said it, like magic. For me, the type of toilet paper kept in their house. On top of that, if the toilet paper is rolled under and not over, sociopaths. Mine is under, but I have 3 cats and one knows how to open the bathroom door. When they curse at their children or pets, I curse a whole lot, but never at children or animals. Man, as long as my dog doesn't start repeating it, I don't see any issue. I tell her all about the dumb fricks at work or the arsehole squirrels that dug up my flowers. Of course she's getting, but scratches and toys at the same time. Agreed. I tell my girls, dogs, I freaking love you, or don't be a peen. As long as you don't yell at or act aggressively towards them, they don't care what you say. When the kids boss the parents around. When you see a parent in the back of the car and the child sat in the front passenger seat, just makes me die inside. And when they spank their parents in public or scream at them. People who have to try and dominate every discussion, or have to one-up every other person who contributes to the discussion. I have a friend who just can't stop talking about herself. It's always I, my, me, mine, even when other people brought up another topics. Also her voice is extremely loud and always interrupt another person talking. Really annoying. And the topics she talked about are the same thing over and over again to the same group of people. I don't want to hear about how good your parking skill is, or how well you memorize something from your primary school, or how amazing your interactions with seniors. For the 8 times. Shut up. Not wearing masks properly. My job the last year has involved making sure people wear masks properly. I don't understand people who wear it, but under their nose or chin. Like, what is the point? I'm judging there with ya. Men with unkept fingernails. If you intentionally have long nails that are manicured or styled, that's super chill. I'm talking about men who just do not cut their fingernails. It leads me to assumptions or street-least questions about overall hygiene. My BF has always obsessively cleaned his hands and nails, but also always looks like he just scratched a monkey's ass. He works automotive. It's just impossible to keep your hands looking good when you work in grease and grime all day without damaging your hands by over-cleansing them. What they name their kids. This is one I'm starting to judge on now that I know people my age are having kids. I don't mind a little creativity, but there comes a point where some names are just way too creative and original. I used to think the name Apple was out there, but after Elon Musk's kid's name, I think anti-vax people dumb af. How you prioritize your money, not how you spend it, as I couldn't care less if you can afford it. But if you're the type of person who's tight on money and spending it willy-nilly, or spending out of your means and justifying it, then your ceiling for being a bright person drops significantly. One of my exes said they had $40 in their bank account during the peak of the pandemic. She had no job, and she thought she earned going to get a manicure and blowing even more than what she could afford, since I think she needed to borrow money to make up for the cost. I told her that was a stupid purchase, and she kept trying to justify it by saying it's been too long and that she felt like she earned herself a treat. No. If you have $40, your treat could potentially be a McFlurry from the drive-thru, not a manicure. I want to clarify again, it's not like getting a manicure is bad, but prioritizing it when you have $40 to your name is freaking moronic. I don't judge poor people. I was poor for a long time. I judge people with little money who spend it stupidly. Your example is a good one. I have a daughter-in-law who complains about money constantly and asks for help with necessities. She has a $1,200 iPhone, a new TV, and a newer car than I do. Yeah, no. I have an acquaintance who posts things about herself in the third person via inspirational memes. For example, 1 of 10 a week. She weathered the storm and trudged through the lightning because the electricity of the pain only ignited her fuel to accomplish more. I made that up, but you get the picture. I judge this. I think it's freaking pathetic. I massively judge anyone who posts lots of inspirational memes in general. Like, this is hypocritical, but there's no one I judge more than a judgmental person. Like, why do you have to be so toxic? Commenting on people's looks, weight, clothes is just cruel. Talking about someone and assuming they do something because of how they do something else is stupid. You have no idea what someone's like. If they're a judgmental person, I will always see you as a BTCH, even if you do a lot of other good things. I understand that everyone judges people automatically, but what I don't understand is them voicing that judgment because it's just a peen move that often causes insecurities for the person being judged. People who constantly film their kids at recitals and things like that. Take a few pictures, then put their devices down and actually watch it. No point in filming a 20-minute video that you're never gonna watch again. Also, people who go to fireworks shows and film the fireworks for more than 4 seconds. That's something you are really never gonna watch again. Just live in the moment, take a couple of pics, and move on. What? They film it because they want to watch it later, or to show family members that couldn't be there. Also, yes, YTF do people take pictures of fireworks? I always thought that was super dumb. Not cleaning up after themselves when eating at a casual restaurant. I work in a sandwich shop next to an ice cream place, and it's incredible the number of times I've had to wipe down tables covered in sticky half-dried ice cream because the parent of that child decided not my problem. I subconsciously judge people for a lot of things, but I'm working on not doing that. But what I will judge people for is how they treat their animals/children. If you aren't a nice person to something that can't stand up for itself, consider yourself judged. The background wallpaper in their phone, especially when it's a picture of themselves. Who puts a photo of themselves as the background photo on their phone? Weird. There's not a whole lot secret about it, as I do talk about it with friends, but I really judge people who try to flaunt wealth/constantly talk about how much money they have/the things they've bought. It's a really ugly personality trait. And yes, this includes your action figures you're constantly posting on social media and bragging about your crypto/stock net worth. Whether they talk about people they seemingly like behind their back. One time I had to excuse myself to go into the bathroom and cry for a little bit at a house party in New York City because this big fancy special journalist asshole named Brad, who was friends with my media industry friends, kept saying the nastiest crap about his supposed best friend, Chris. Chris is just the nicest, sweetest, kindest Canadian boy. Just a total doll, a positive presence, and someone I sincerely appreciate as a person. Brad kept going on and on about how dare Chris post his own articles on social media because no one wants to read them, and all sorts of hideous things no one should ever say about their best friend. It was emotionally overwhelming for me, and my heart broke for Chris. That's why I had to excuse myself from the situation and leave the room. It really broke me to witness that. Frick you, Brad. Your pretentious ass writing sucks and you're a total craphead as a person. I've come to realize that I find negative comments about personal appearance vulgar. Joking about a person's weight, or face, or how old they look, etc. If somebody is commenting on a drastic change, like oh wow he got fat, I understand that as an honest initial reaction. But anybody who thinks it's funny to repeatedly joke about how ugly so and so is, or how fat, or how bald, ugh, how vulgar. It really makes the commenter seem mean and unsophisticated to me. The crap people watch on TikTok annoys the frick out of me as a bystander. I don't use TikTok. I think I'm just too old for the appeal. But it's so annoying when I hear the person next to me watching videos of what sounds like unfunny people seeking attention. That's probably harsh, but that's why I secretly judge how far they take their religion. I know people who are die-hard Christians. They literally put everything on God and the devil. I remember one time they blamed Satan for their son catching a cold after he went out to play during a light rain. Another time they thanked God and didn't even express appreciation for the doctors and nurses that's been taking care of the father of the family for I think almost 2 months of intensive care. They don't believe in science, like at all, to the point that it's just stupid to even convince them about it. Their kid, who is like 9 this year, is honestly being poisoned by his parents. I know that religion is important and all, but to disregard even the existence and works of science? I used to be Christian myself who grew up in a Christian family, but thanks to stuff like this, I've grown to put myself away from religion and be an agnostic atheist. I still respect people's religion, but when they become pretty much too absorbed and start to disregard the advances of humanity itself, that's when my respect starts to wane. Being late. It says everything about how they value other people. Astrology. Even dumber than regular religion. Right on schedule. My horoscope said that somebody was going to challenge my beliefs today and that I should ignore them. How they treat people beneath them. I'm referring to those with disabilities or those that look/act different for reasons out of their control, but also people like servers, cashiers, etc. can qualify.